has been, but it's been a week. But hey, I'm here. We're here. Let's make it do what it do. So I'm going to give it a few moments to let other people jump on, get the notification that I'm online, and then we will jump right into our conversations. So, anybody had anything interesting going on this week? Drop it in the comments so I can see and read about it. Just going to give it a few more minutes. We're about to ready to rock it out. I don't like to waste anybody's time. So, a few more minutes. I should have had some music playing. What you think? Okay, here we go. Let's go. Let's go. So, Thursday, I think it was Thursday, I had the privilege and the honor to present at the University of Alabama School of Social Work. And it was their Tidbit Knowledge series. And I presented on mental health disparities, addressing disparities in mental health outcomes for African Americans in the United States. And so it was a great presentation. You know, I had worked on it. I had got information about being on the tidbits for them a few months ago. So I had ample time to prepare. But you know how it is when you get preparing stuff and then like you kind of like start to do something else. So that's how it was. So I really, really was grinding it out coming up to the event to make sure I had everything just so and my slides and everything together. So I'm presenting, I'm waiting, they're introducing me, right? They're introducing me and reading all this good stuff about me, and my volume goes out. So that was the first thing. I was like, oh my goodness, the volume has gone out. I hope it pops back in. And it did. It popped back in just as they were turning it over to me. So I didn't get to hear all of, the bio and stuff that was read and good things that was said, but I know what it is, so it didn't matter. But so I'm getting ready to present, and guess what, y'all? The presentation did not come up. It did not come up. And before we went live with the tidbit knowledge, I was kind of wondering, is my presentation going to come up? I think I even asked, and they was like, "Yeah, we got it," because I knew I emailed it, So I thought we was going to actually do a test run before we actually went live. So, maybe I got caught up in the hype and all that stuff. I don't know. But just when, I was ready to dive into it, the presentation was not there. So I was like, what is happening? What is going on? And so I'm panicking on the inside, right? I'm panicking. I'm panicking. And I'm like, okay. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to go ahead and present. Luckily, I was prepared. I did have my notes printed out, but I had put so much work into those slides. I had a little video clip in there. Oh, I was like, oh my goodness. And so I just rocked it out. Hey, I pushed them shoulders back, pushed them glasses back, and I just rocked it out. I did what it had to do. But in that sense of that happening, it taught me, this lesson to always be prepared. Always be prepared, always plan for the mishaps that may come about because what say it does happen. And that's how it is in life. When I was talking with Coach Lee, some of you may have seen my post that I have posted with Coach Lee, and she has a book called Lee's Laws of Productivity. You can get it on Amazon. And we had this conversation. We talked about how, the week may start out and we may have this one perception of how we want our week to go. We know things happen, right? Things, mishaps and things happen. But as long as you stick to the plan, even if you have to adjust it, it's still a win, right? So this was still a win for me, even though it didn't go as smoothly as I wanted to. But the feedback from the audience was all positive. The purpose was served. The purpose were to notify the people and educate the people on health disparities, and that particular health disparity was in mental health among African Americans in the United States. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And something else, a tidbit nugget there too. Always do your own work. I know we're in this age of AI, and AI makes things so comfortable for us, and it does. And I use AI too for at times, but when I'm doing research and I'm getting ready for presentations or speaking engagements and things, it's really coming from the hard research that I've done for myself. Now, I may use AI to tweak it a little bit, but it's primarily all my work. Just like with a proofreader, right? So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the ability to be able to still use my own skills and my own knowledge to do the leg work to get it done. Because it's a passion. And when it's a passion for you, you enjoy what you do. And while purpose is why you do it. So it's the passion that I have for educating the people, telling people about health disparities. I mean, if you look back and scroll on my social media, you can see I've been doing this for quite a very long time. I was thrilled to find that picture of myself at the very first health fair I had back in my hometown at my home church. They were so gracious to let me host it there. And I had that health fair. And back then it was health disparities. And I think at that time I was talking more so about diabetes and congested heart failure. And I forgot what the other thing was. But anyway, I was talking about those things at that time. And so that's just been kind of like a running thing that I've done. So because it's a passion of mine, it's a passion of mine to educate the people, to provide social workers like myself with information that helps them further their practice, to also let the community know and tackle those things that are not often talked about and discussed in the community and give them avenues and ways to enhance and make it better, right? And the purpose is because we are, we, we deserve the rights and privileges that everybody else gets. We deserve to have fair health care. We deserve to have the attention and someone listen to us when we talk about our complaints and our problems. We deserve to have someone there advocating for us. So that's the purpose behind it. So, I was talking with different people this week and just thinking about different things that people experience in life. And a lot of times we experience things in our life and we ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? What is, so upsetting to me? Or we have people that have unprocessed anger, unprocessed grief, and they don't know what to do with it, and they will use that and project it out on others. And it makes it very toxic. And it makes me think about this saying that this quote that I heard. C.S. Lewis wrote this quote saying that I sat with my anger long enough until she told me her real name was grief. And that really resonates because you can have that anger inside of you about something that may have happened that you didn't even have control over. You can have that type of aggression there and you don't know how to process it or to move. It may have been a situation when you were younger and you may not been able to vocalize how you felt. It may have been a situation where you may have been in an abusive situation and you weren't able to vocalize or get out or make things better in that situation. And we will sit and hold that. We'll hold space for that anger. And we don't even realize that we're holding space for it. And it spills out. It spills out onto things and to people and in situations that we don't even want it to, but it does because you're mad, you're angry. And, if you sit with that anger long enough, it becomes grief. You're grieving who you could be, you're grieving the possibilities, you're grieving yourself of what you're robbing yourself of. So signifying that when you examine your anger and what it is that you're upset about, you can discover what actually is stemming from it, the underlining sadness or the grief that really sits there. Does that make sense, guys? I just, I thought about that because a lot of people in situations like that where they have that unprocessed anger, that unprocessed grief there, and they don't know what to do with it. And that goes back to mental health, being able to have those outlets and those resources there to be able to talk to someone or to express how you feel. Because, in our community, as I talked about in my presentation, we kind of grow up with that stigma of frowning upon mental health services or therapy services or seeking any type of help for what we may be dealing with. We can carry stress very well, we can carry depression very well, we can carry anger, you know, so well. And then it becomes a part of us. It becomes embedded in us. And that's not who you are at the core of who you're being. So understanding and knowing what you're dealing with and then taking the time to get to the resources and to get the help that you need is where you want to be. That's what you want to do. You want to be able to say, hey, I need some help, or hey, I need this. And so with people like myself and my other co-workers and counterparts, social workers out there, these our professional counselors out there, our school counselors, those individuals that are standing in the gaps and that are trying to help people understand who they are and their purpose and their passion in life, and helping them process those difficulty things that they're not able to process. That's what we do. We fill in those gaps and we try to be there and be a resource to them. So I challenged everyone that was on that tidbit knowledge to look at themselves and look at ways that they can integrate themselves into the community and link themselves to services in the community so that they can be an advocate to get more mental health services there so people can get the help, care, and the attention that they need to deal with their issues. I just think if more of us take that deep dive and that extra step, we can help kind of manage this thing a little bit better, because it's a lot of hurting people out there. It's a lot of hurting people out there. It's a lot of people that don't understand things and why things have happened to them. They don't know how to process it. They don't know where to turn to for help. And then there are a lot of people that just don't even acknowledge that that's what they're feeling. Every experience holds a lesson that we have. If we take time to seek out what the lesson is that happens to us, we all deal with challenges, right? And you may even ask yourself, okay, what's the purpose of this? Why is this situation happening to me? And then you may think about, what I'm saying, how I can change whatever negative thing or adversity it is that happens and grow from it. Everybody doesn't process like that, but that's a way that we should start trying to push ourselves to process things professionally, independently, personally. And you can even share that in these things and tidbits with your family friends. I just feel like when things happen to us, we do have this instant reaction to, how we may, react to it, whether it's in anger, whether it's in questionable, whether it's whatever it is. But if you really, in those challenging times, if you really ask yourself, okay, why is this happening? What's the purpose of this situation? What is it I need to learn from this? What is it I need to pull from this? And how can I grow from this? It can be a situation of where you may have lost your job unexpectedly. I've been in a situation like that. And then I'm like, why is this happening to me? I was doing everything I was supposed to do in my job. I was advocating. I was following, the code of ethics. I spoke up about some things that was not, transpiring in the workplace. It should have been. And I got hit. I got asked for those things of speaking out and advocating for what was right. And so I asked myself, what was the purpose of this? Why did this happen to me? And then, of course, it ricocheted to long line of other things that started to happen. But I gathered myself and I realized that this was not happening to me, it was happening for me. It was happening for me to push me to an area in a space that was unfamiliar to me, where it would encourage me and force me to be who I am equipped to be. So when you have these challenges that come across you, don't look at it as always being negative, but look at what you can pull from there and what you can grow from when you go there. So, how do you may say you do that? How do I do that, Shamika? Okay, ask yourself, well, no, what strengths can I pull from this experience? Because every challenge we has this, gives you the opportunity to discover, your resiliency, your capabilities, that you may have not even known that you possess. You may not even known that you had it in you to start a podcast. You may not even know that you had it in you to, start doing some other things and using your platform for other things. Like when I started doing, these CEU classes and offering these classes to other social workers so that they could get CEU credits on topics that they really was very relatable to them. Just pushing you in different avenues, or even just making you even more fine tuned to what's going on around you, or understanding someone else's issues or concerns when it arises. So ask yourself, What can I discover from this? What strengths can I pull from this experience? How can I apply these strengths in my daily life? Does it make you resilient? Does it make you more attentive to your own needs? Does it make you examine yourself or your circle of people that you are around? Does it make you look at yourself and say, you know what I'm saying, these are some ugly parts about me that I really need to work on, and this is how I'm going to move forward and working on those things? So those are some things that you can think about. And then also remind yourself that when adversity comes, that every step back is a setup for a comeback. And we hear that often. We hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you fall down, you get back up. And that's something that we have to do. And sometimes we have to do it over and over and over and over again. And it does get exhausting, but you can't give up. You have to keep moving forward. You have to take for what you can from that experience and keep going. Because if we stand still, we'll never know our full potential. And we all have so much potential inside of ourselves that we must use it. I was listening to Denzel Washington was talking to Coach Prime's teammate, his football players, and one thing he said is the graveyard is full of potential, and that is so true. Full of a bunch of people that had plenty potential, purpose, passion that never walked in it, never ignited the fire within themselves to do what they were really called to do. Don't be one of those people. When obstacles come your way, when setback comes your way, dust yourself off, get back up, try again. If it's something that you want to do, find ways to make it a priority. Time management, setting out time to work on those things that work best for you. With this podcast, I was talking to my sister about my podcast and my content and just trying to help her understand how all that works. And it is a task. When I get off work, I'm tired. I don't feel like editing. I don't feel like doing none of these things. And those that have followed me for quite some time, I knew nothing about any of that. So I had to teach myself all of that. And that was time consuming as well. But I was determined. I was determined to do this because it was laid on my heart to do the Sunday Night Lives, to do the podcast, to keep it going, to do something different with it, to keep moving forward. And so it takes work, and you do get tired. You do get tired. You do get frustrated. Even on Sunday Night Lives, I sit there sometimes. I'm like, I hope what I'm saying is of some value to someone somewhere. It must be because the listeners keep increasing. It may not be on the actual live, but on the playback, you go back and you're like, wow, okay, so many people on here, so many people listen. So I just say, take that, embrace the mindset that you can turn obstacles into something like stepping stones towards a more fulfilling life, stepping stones towards your actual goals in life. And so those are just a couple of things I just want to share with you tonight. I just felt like, telling you about my experience with speaking engagement this week, and how something went wrong and I had to do what, square up, push forward, and keep going. Being prepared for that, that lets always be prepared in life for mishaps, and also be authentically you, be who you are, do the work. I think we had a Sunday Night Live about that before, about, are you doing the work? Are you showing up for yourself? Are you putting yourself forward? Are you putting the efforts in? Are you in a space that you can get the blessings that you're asking for? Are you able to, what I'm saying, go and speak in these spaces and be able to speak from your heart, be able to know and study your stuff, that you're able to get up there, and if a mishap happens, you're able to go and still rattle off and keep going? You have to ask yourself those things. Are you in a space where you're able to juggle? If you're selling products, are you in a space where you're able to juggle a bulk order of 3,500 orders at one time? Are you in that space? So we have to think about those things. We people that are, you know, chasing after our passion, and we're, fulfilling our purpose of why we're doing it. We have to ask ourselves those questions and make sure we're in tune with our emotions. And then I gave you the quote also about, I sat with anger long enough until she told me her real name was grief. And with that, I feel like it's just telling you to examine your anger, your disposition, or whatever it is. And you may discover that it's actually stemming from some underlying sadness or grief. And you're not alone. There's other people that feel like that. That made me segue into talking about life's lessons from experiences that we have. And also the need for more resources in our community, more social workers to be involved, more therapists to be involved, more people to be out there, boots on the ground, not flicking the fans, boots on the ground, but boots on the ground out there connecting with community agencies and connecting with grassroots agencies and making sure that we are showing up and providing our expertise on mental health and self-care and wellness and doing the actual work to help grow the awareness of mental health and the need that we needed in our community. So those some things that I just want to hop on here tonight and just kind of talk about and just give you a little insight on it. So I hope that you grab something from what I said tonight. As you know, I never want to hold you long on Sunday Night Lives. I just want to get on, give it to you, and jump right off. But take those things, watch the playback, give me some feedback, tell me what you think about it, tell me about what you're working on and what you're inspired to work on. If you don't want to put it in the comments, that's fine. Several people don't. I get my inbox full of stuff all the time. Send me a message in the inbox. I always respond back. I always try to keep that conversation going and try to help you any way that I can. So I would like to say this is going to be a blessed week despite what you may have gone through this week or what may lie ahead next week. We're going to claim victory. We're going to claim victory right now. We're going to go into next week with victory mindset. We're going to go into next week feeling joy and peace. We're going to go into next week chasing our purpose and doing our things that we are passionate about. So I want you to hold tight to that this week, and I'll see you again on next Sunday. Thank you again for tuning in with Conversations with the Martin Girl on Sunday nights. Thanks.